was a part of it that was just too.
We had a tenant at the granary, he signed a 2-year lease, and he did not adhere to his side of the lease. So we followed the letter of the law as far as notifying us, us sending the notice to vacate. He did not remove any belongings. There was food left out. He didn't leave it in shambles, but he did not come and retrieve his belongings or clean it up, so we locked him out of the property. And then apparently there was an employee of his that was disgruntled because he had some personal effects that he left at the granary. It was only an old upright freezer, a pole saw. He claimed to have had some medicine from the VA that was absolutely not there because we had already cleaned it, but that was talked about and then it was on there. Anywho, they got real spicy on the Jarrell Facebook page and posted a scathing, "Do not buy from these terrible people." So that's misinformation number one. And there was a really cool article that came out in the Williamson County Sun this past week after Gabe presented. And there's just a few facts in there that were incorrect, which are not some big deal, so I'll bring it up. But in case you guys were just read that and like, what is that? Please hear me answering questions.
Well, I'm reading my Williamson County Suns now, but I've been going for a while. So.
Okay. It's a
now
very
I
fresh
know which ones I remember and not remember. Okay. All right, thank you. Does anybody want Hannah?
No, is this is this property for sale or is this, he's
It
going
is.
to invest in?
It's for sale. We would entertain another lease if that's the route that Gabe needed to go. And we would also be happy to include in the lease terms that the property would likely remain for sale, but in the lease terms would be that the lease would convey to any new owners.
He was asking for.
At this point,
Or is he asking, what
I
is
think
he
he
asking?
would be asking for some financial assistance to redo part of the inside of the kitchen, perhaps is what he said, and some of the outside, upgrade the outside seating, since they are older wooden style tables. They've warped, they're splintered a little bit, so nicer tables out there. A wooden dance floor, I believe is what he said.
Some element of climate control.
Yes.
is
So
needed.
currently when you go there is no indoor seating. It's all outdoor seating, which is a little torturous during the summer months here in Texas. So he was asking, I think he was going to try and do some finish out on the inside to allow for indoor seating as well.
Maybe more like it's something we can do at some point, like a grant.
Yeah, and that's what I was mentioning to Yvonne, is once it got through the city far enough along that they were okay, that they could approach us and we might be able to take a look. And that would be fine, but there's a lot of work, I'm understanding, that needs to be done with the city administration before we need to get involved with it. Although I think it's great.
Me trying to understand what the ask is.
He would be asking for some financial assistance in order to bring that building up to a more functional condition to allow for success. Yeah.
Okay.
And he did talk about rebranding it to the Railway, I think is what he said.
Something train themed, I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, something train themed to bring in the history of Jarrell, the train history, the 4 apostles.
Sure. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would just be a project we can consider for next year. Okay. Moving on to the regular agenda items, item number 3.1, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding the approval of the minutes from the regular call to ADC meeting on May the 14th, 2025.
I make a motion to approve the regular minutes, or the minutes of the regular call JEDC meeting on May 14th.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second. All in favor say aye. Unanimous approval on the minutes. Moving to item 3.2, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding the approval of the minutes for the 4A JEDC and City Council joint workshop and regular call JEDC meeting on June the 11th. Okay, so you were not at that one. That was right. So
She wasn't.
Motion to approve.
Yeah.
Motion to
And
approve.
for me, I was on the phone, but I physically wasn't there, which I'm good with just being absent, because I physically wasn't there.
and that's why when we were at the meeting, we said we can't conduct any business because we don't have a quorum, but we're still going to have the workshop.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
I will second Tim's motion. Okay, Tim, you and me. All in favor say aye. Okay, you have unanimous approval of those that were in attendance to that one. This one, item 3.3, I was checking with Christie, this was a carryover from an action item that was on that special call meeting. It's not relevant because we didn't do anything with it at the time, so I'm just basically scratching that item from here. So item 4, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding a contract with the city for the hiring of an executive director. Okay, so you weren't here, Tony, so in the workshop that we had with the city, the discussion was basically centered around the executive director position that the EDC board had. Tim had made a comment at the May meeting that we could take a look at having the city just hire an EDC director. So we went through, the general consensus is that the EDC board would move forward with contracting with the city for a percentage of a person that has the skill sets that the EDC board would require and would pay them such, would contract with them and pay them as such. And every year we could negotiate what percentage of that person's time that we wanted.
Well, I like that idea because it eliminates any gap in communication between the city and the EDC.
Yeah.
That person can be the liaison between both.
So administratively, they would report to the city manager like every other city employee. The difference would be is that there would be a split role, is to say that for the percentage time that we've got them, they've got to do what we want them to do. And so there would be a requirement that they meet some level of the essential job skills that we've got listed in the current job description as far as certifications and experience and whatever else. But I think the admission was we have nothing going right now that requires a full-time
Agreed.
EDC employee. So,
Part of that discussion too was, what does that job look like? And we talked about, part of the workshop was designed for us to get direction, right, from the city on what we should be working on. And I think where we landed was infrastructure for the bulk. We can go recruit all day, but the city's way behind in infrastructure. We've got to catch up here before we can actually do anything here. And so, my opinion, and I said it to the city staff that day, is maybe that's who we need to hire right now. It may not need to be someone out. They need to have some experience and understand economic development, absolutely. But I think this person needs to understand the infrastructure and help the city to navigate where our funding can be spent to improve that portion. And then down the road, we shift that.
yeah. Well, I would buy onto the end of that one, and I agree with that one. We have not done a good job in infrastructure for the city. So kind of like we don't have anything to peddle.
Yeah,
To bring people in. So my long-term would be is that maybe what we do is we say, look, we only need 25% of a person, but we would like you, we can't tell the city what to do. We'd like you to spend whatever other time, or even give them an additional 15% and say, work on infrastructure type things. Although that's a hell of a lot messier because you've got, that requires the city to come into line with some project and some funding and some other stuff that's done on their side. But I think the general agreement is that we would not have an EDC, an executive director, that would report to the EDC board directly. Okay, that did not seem to work out last time for a multitude of reasons. So the part, and I think the reason we put this one in here would be setting up a couple of members of the board to work with the city manager to go, look, here's kind of what we would like to have happen, and here's what the executive director needs to have as far as skill sets. But we only need that skill set. You make a choice, 25% of the time, 30% of the time, 40% of the time, whatever that may be. I'm kind of with Tim, is that probably for the first year, if we got 25%, that would be probably more than we could use, because we're really, at that point in time, from what I've seen, and there's some action items we need to do on our next meeting, we need to get some information to start updating our website, because there are some postings on there that are, yeah, I've actually got a message traffic in. I think Diane was on that message traffic from our website developer going, look, I need to meet with you guys, because you've got.
I think you're still on as the mayor. On there.
Okay, then, so obviously it needs to be updated, okay, yeah, that's a long time ago, so, I would like let's just, instead of getting all caught up on our shorts, trying to wait every month to have a meeting, okay, I would like to see, well, since you've got some idea of what it was that we were kind of agreeing to with the city, we were trying to conform to what they've got, and maybe one other, could you have more administrative people?
Sure.
Joe and I don't, we're just breezy old little farts, that's just what we do. So I would like to get us to move to have both you and Tim get together and work out with the city what the job description needs to be and what percentage of time you think, because whatever time you think, as long as it's not zero, I'm good with it, and I think you've got the right turn on it that is.
I'm a little less geared towards trying to calculate percentages, and I'm more at, the city, what's your need, and can we just split that cost? And they're responsible to us when we're needed, they're gonna figure out the infrastructure stuff, they're gonna bring it to us. And then that way, it's not, well, I was over here for 5 hours, I just think that gets messy.
Oh, no, that way, I never would want to get into that
Whatever
trying to keep track of the hours. That's not the intent. It's kind of, over the course of a year, some week we may want to choose up 40 hours, okay, but then we've got other weeks we may not. So I think that that part of it just is a general agreement, I'm more trying to look at something that we can put into a yearly budget that just says, you made the commentary as to what do EDC directors make in towns our size.
Right.
Towns our size don't have executive directors. So big cities, they're running about 125 grand. Again, at some point, there's a number that's equitable for small city Jarrell, that's a proportion of a person that the city is going to hire that would do the kind of work that we would need, okay, but we don't need 25% of a $150,000 person, because we don't have that kind of requirements right now. But whatever negotiate, it can't be an hourly basis, it can't be just 10 hours of work. It should just be proportionally, and part of that proportion, we decide we want to give to the city to work on infrastructure and the rest of it. It's a good use of our assets, because we can have it in a contract. And that's what we really just need, is a flexible contract that just says, the guy will be hired with these kinds of skills. When we have need, that will be met, but we won't ever exceed, pick a number, whatever that may be, over the course of a year. Do you feel good with that?
Yeah, I think we just start the conversation and see where we land.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Can somebody make a motion to that effect? Create
What about the naming?
You're putting us.
Yeah, I'll try to think. So I'll make a motion that we create a committee with Dr. Hicks and Tim Jordan here to look at the responsibilities of our future new city executive director, and get back to the EDC board. You want to set a time period on it, or just?
I don't want to set a time, I would like to qualify those, is with an agreed contract. Okay, because that's what we need to have. We need to have an account. Now, it can be fairly liberal.
An agreement.
Absolutely, it's just a management agreement that goes in there. It's not like we're gonna get into a legal battle with anything, but something that says this is the percentage we're gonna take. And every year that contract will be subject to renewal, and the terms of it will be based upon our needs every year. So I think if we move forward, then we can satisfy the city's need for control of the employees that are in internal housing, and we get somebody that's under control and it's in there, so.
I think it's costing that.
I have a question, please. I know that on July 1st, Corp had brought to our attention some of the goals in mind to share the cost and talent. And so at that time, I don't know if it makes a difference in what you're doing, but we were asked to consider renaming that from the Jarrell Economic Development Director to a Growth and Infrastructure Coordinator. Does that make a difference in what?
As far as as long as they meet the skill sets that we got, if
Okay.
it needs to be.
On his motion, His motion said executive director, so you might just need to
Okay.
amend the motion.
So, let's just, can you change one, just to, in a contract with the city for administrative services?
Okay, I'll change my motion to where, it's for administration contract with the city instead of a executive director of EDC.
Okay, it's good. Contract, administration, everybody good with that?
Agreed.
Okay. In a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
You made the motion, okay. We've got a unanimous approval on the hiring of an executive director. Then, item number 3.5, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding a request for proposal for legal representation for the EDC. I will leave this to Tim, he brought this up. Sounded like a fair idea that we had independent counsel for us as we move forward.
Yeah, so the idea here to me is making sure that we're well within our bounds and everything that we do, and that is us contracting with a legal firm to have our own counsel that is specific to what we do. So when we're making decisions, they can say, yes, you can, or no, you can't. And I bring this up too, is I was emailed this week about, an invoice that was sent to the city to be paid to an attorney, Patricia. Have you seen it? And nobody knows what that is.
Yes, and actually, that's part of
Patricia,
it. Well, yeah, it's
I don't know what that
yeah,
is.
it's your person.
So I was just asked, did we already do that? And I'm like, no, why? And they
Yeah.
said, there's an invoice. The city didn't know what it was. I don't know what it is either. And so I did request today any agreements that we may have with whoever Patricia is, and there are none. So I personally want to know what the expense is for and why it's being approved to spend money that there's no.
Yes.
Did I get
I don't know.
Yes, you did. I mean, is this, so do we want to talk about it, or do y'all want to talk about the motion? Because
Maybe this needs to be a different item.
I would say so,
I
because
agree.
this happens to do with
Yeah.
some development.
But this is explaining why I want legal
Yes.
counsel, so that when things like this do come up and there's misunderstandings, that we have some representation for myself anyway, that we're doing the right thing legally
Sure.
covered. So that's what I.
Agree. All right, so
Like this looks like I'll make a motion that we entertain, getting our own personal legal representation for the EDC board. And then, I'll make that motion, then we can talk about setting a workshop and
okay,
explain.
so again, I'd like to do a subcommittee, because there's only 4 of us, so we don't have a lot of infrastructure. So since you made it,
Yeah.
can you coordinate getting an RFP out
Yeah, we
using
can
the
send
city
that.
services that we're paying for now? And then bring it back and we can have a discussion as to which attorney or attorney's firm or whatever it is we want to do. If we get a cost, then we can slam that into the budget too and go forward from there. So if you can get something done by the August meeting, we'll see if we can form this out, because I need to inform the mayor that we're gonna be late on our budget. We're normally supposed to have it done by August the 1st. We've had a slow start, so I'm gonna tell them we're just gonna be a little late, but we'll get there. The nice part about our bylaws is that we're just subject to the normal financial ordinances that the city's got. So we can always amend the budget whenever we decide we want to spend money. So it's not gonna limit us. I mean, even if we had a 0 budget in there, we can always spend more. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. Second, all in favor say aye. Tim?
Yes.
We have unanimous on everyone. Okay, just make sure. Just want to make sure. Okay. Item number 3.6, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the development of the fiscal year 26 budget. I threw a lot of stuff that's out there. Some of this was data that was in the previous executive director's files, electronic files. I'm not sure what relevance they had. I'm often sitting there going, is that if I will take the responsibility of working with the city secretary to get all of the current payables that have been done this year, so we can identify those sources for which we have contracts, okay, and whether we should put those in the budget, we know that they're there, okay? I don't know that we have any new things because we don't have any projects that we have approved that would have some dollars attached to them to be able to put them in as a line item within our budget. But again, due to the financial ordinances, we can always go back in and need to. Anytime we want to spend money, we don't have it in the budget, then we're going to have to basically do a budget amendment. I did ask the city manager for estimate of what revenues look like for the upcoming year, and he didn't respond, but Diane responded and said they had a document that said $543,112. So we've got a revenue source, okay, knowing what the intended budgeted revenue would be for the year. And
That's
then
a proposal for, that's a proposed.
and that came from the city side, so, you know, we don't, I mean, for the previous years, whatever they said it was there, that's what we took. The other item that I would pass to you is that if you take a look, I don't know what page this is the balance sheet. I prefer to look at balance sheets than anything else. We have right at about, or at least at the end of June, we had right at about $1.4 million in CDs and cash in the bank. We've got enough cash, we're gonna have to convert some of that into a CD. We really have a half mil, haven't put the CD yet. The balance sheet?
Whatever is the 800,
Well, we got 807, we also have 560 in cash, so, you know, I'll discuss, we'll put some more of that in CDs, because it's, you know what I mean, it's 4%, okay, so, it's another 40,000 a year we can estimate into revenue if we don't have anything to spend it on. So, other than that, I don't have anything proposed. I will bring one next month. I am kind of leaning towards tabling this item and then either calling a workshop if you want to do that later this month, okay, to go through what we currently know that we have contracts for. Because I tried reading the sheets that you're looking at, Tam. I have no idea what she was trying to do. I don't know what any of them mean. I'm just trying to give you a background of information that said, this is what the previous executive director had in her files for the fiscal year 26 budget, and I have no idea what those line items mean. Okay? There was no background to any of it. So I will come up with I've done some budgets before, I'll come up with a pro forma that will just sit there and we'll start with 543,112 in. I'll try and get all of the estimated current contracts that we have, obligations, okay, and at least get them identified and on a budget table so we can be aware of what we probably have out in front. We probably show a large cash reserve for the fiscal year just because we haven't done any projects yet, nor have we capitalized any. But as we do that, then obviously we can take a look at where we are to the budget stream and what we have access to the current revenue streams that comes in, if that's agreeable to everybody. Okay. Is that agreeable to you, Tim? Okay, then I will take that onus and burden, work with Diane to get all the payables for the EDC so far through this year, so we can at least try and identify those things that are contracts. I'm having some difficulty finding the contracts for most of the expenses that are out there, and even in our bylaws, it says everything has to have a contract. So if it's not, I'm kind of going this, that it isn't approved, and we need to start a process all over again. Nobody has a problem with that. So. Okay, all right. So we are going to table item number 3.6, and it's on me. The item that was in there, did you want to try and do a workshop later this month, or do you want to just wait until August? Budget workshop.
If everybody's available, let's do it as quick as we can.
Agreed.
Wait on it.
August is going to
Okay.
be busy.
Okay. Why don't I'll email you some proposed dates. Do Wednesdays seem to work best for you? Okay. So I'll put out some Wednesdays. I'm going to put it out a couple weeks. It's going to take me a little time just to get all of the data and set up a format so that we can go through and start going, yeah, that's good, or no, we don't want to do that. And so I'll propose that, and if you all agree with it, then what I'll do is that I will do it to Christie and to Diane, just saying this is the thing. Then we'll just have a workshop and we'll just go through it. Hopefully by that time, we can also get some input on what this new person is gonna be called and about how much we want. It seems like the number for the administrative portion with the city seems to have been fairly fixed. It's $6,131 a year. Bill Jorge, you got a better number, give it to us, but I haven't had much communication back from him. So, but again, if it turns out to be more after we propose the budget, we're gonna do a budget amendment and, you know, and go forward from there. We just have to get the budget amendment in before we spend money, okay? Is there anything, I always like to open this up, is there anything you feel we need to discuss at the next meeting or the next workshop that we're gonna have? Because the more I know what you guys want, the better I can put the agendas up to know what we need to go do, so.
You keep the employee thing on the agenda in case we.
Oh, yeah, so the contract parts are gonna have to be on there the next time, because we're expecting you to come back and give us
Yeah.
something that we can, something that we can act on, okay? So that will be in there. So those items that will be in there, the discussion we've had for the contract for the city hiring and the contract for the request for proposal for legal services will be on there again. If we got them, great. If we don't have them, then we'll have to table them and we'll move forward as we need to as a board. All right, there being no further business
One more, can we add the granary property onto that workshop as well, so that that gentleman could come in and speak directly with y'all if we give him advance notice? To receive and discuss a presentation.
It's a workshop, so we don't.
Now, no action, just receive and discuss a presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How long do you think the presentation's gonna be?
He spoke for about 10-15 minutes last time, so it
Okay,
wasn't,
that would be great.
He just needs probably a little more guidance on how this process moves forward. I haven't been involved in anything like this, so just collectively, yeah.
Well, it'd be good to have the discussions up front, because
Okay.
they're gonna bring in some good barbecue.
Yeah, it's good, I've had it, it's.
You know, I may have to reach into my own pocket, but, you know, okay. But that would be fine, I'll put that on, I'll make an action item on there, Suzanne.
Okay.
And I'll include you
Yeah, I can just do the
as
introduction.
the
and then-
reference
yes,
point.
sir. Yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
that'll be fine, because
Okay.
that way we can keep it within the city, because you're good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. There being no further business in front of this board, we stand adjourned at 7:01 PM. Thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you.